You, Mr. or Ms. Armchair Modeler. The one with the whole collection of stuff stashed away. The one with a bunch of locomotives and dozens of pieces of rolling stock that have never even been out of the box, much less on a track. The one who says they'll finally use all that stuff when they can build their dream layout. Yeah, you. Pay attention. I'm here to make some bold statements based on what I've seen over the years. Number one, that whole dream layout thing? Yeah, nothing more than an excuse. Number two, most likely you're never gonna build that dream layout. And number three, worse yet, chances are you'll always be an armchair modeler. Do you want that to be your fate? Or is there some way you can break the cycle I've witnessed over and over again? Stay tuned and find out. Hi everybody, I'm Joe Parker of the Pixel Depot, where we give model railroaders the knowledge, tools, and services they need to build a realistic layout and the motivation to work on it right now. So you might be saying to yourself, well, one second he's saying he wants to give people motivation to work on a layout, and then the next second he's telling me I'll never build my dream layout. So what gives? Well, see, this video comes at the end of the year, that period when people are making resolutions for what to do for the next year. So see where I'm going with this? Obviously, I want you to make a New Year's resolution to build a layout, right? Wrong. Confused yet? Good. Let's break it all down. Let's do a little translation with the help of the internet. In my experience, this is often the case. I can't tell you how many times I've heard some variation of, I'm waiting until I can build my dream layout. As in, I'm not going to start a layout until the stars align and everything is perfect. Then I'll build. Yes, the whole idea of your dream layout assumes that someday you'll have all the time, money, energy, space, and experience you need to make that dream come true. To me, that's like saying, I'm not going to learn to drive until I can get that Lamborghini. Not only is it unlikely that the stars will align for you to get a Lamborghini, even if you did, without a reasonable amount of driving experience under your belt, it's pretty likely that Lamborghini will get wrapped around a pole the first time you take it out for a drive. And that's why I included experience in my list. If you don't start modeling, and my advice would be to start modeling right now, you won't have developed the skills you need to make that dream layout match the vision in your head when the time comes. So I look at the dream layout statement as nothing more than an excuse. Now, it isn't the only excuse, of course. There are also these classic hits. I just don't have the time, don't have the space for a layout. The layout's next after this, insert project name here, inevitably followed by yet another project that takes precedence over the layout. I'm going to say something that's going to sound really harsh and may tick some people off, but I'm going to say it anyway. Those excuses about not having time and not having space, yeah, I don't buy them. Yes, you might be busy and you might not have a large space to build in, but come on, you can't carve out an hour or two per week to build something? How much time have you spent on social media or watching TV this week? You don't have a shelf on a bookcase to build a small layout? Even a studio apartment can handle something like the 15-inch by 90-inch project layout I've been building called the Grunge. I submit that there are two possible reasons behind this excuse. Reason number one, you're afraid. Afraid that you're going to make mistakes. Afraid that you're going to be judged. And I get it. There's a lot to learn and no one wants to screw up, especially when there's money on the line. That said, and I hate to be the one to break this to you, you are going to screw up. That's just part of learning to be a modeler. Also, if you're spending time with modeler friends who are judging you because you're making mistakes, it might be time to find some new friends. Reason number two, and this is the one that I think is more prevalent. You don't really have the desire to actually build a layout. Because if you did, you'd make the time and or find the place to start. Even if it was just a linear switching layout in a small scale like N. I think you like the idea of being a model railroader, but you don't want to put in the work to get to an actual layout. And if you really don't have the desire, that in turn means you'll never build anything. And if that's the case, then why bother buying all this stuff? You may as well just sell it right now. Buying is easy. Building requires a commitment. Not that much of a commitment. So, bold words, right? Are you mad yet? Have you already commented about how wrong I am? That your situation is different and you really don't have the time or the space? Yeah, well, that's fine. I'll refer you back to number 3 from earlier. Or did I get you all fired up and now you want to prove me wrong and build a layout? Good. That's what I was going for. One of the reasons I started this channel is because I wanted to get more people building layouts. I've known too many modelers who kept collecting more and more locomotives, rolling stock, kits, track supplies, accessories, and never actually getting around to building a layout or really doing much of anything with all those things that they've bought before they die, thus leaving those left behind to figure out what to do with all that stuff. Side note, of course, there are no absolutes. For a fun thought experiment, consider the paradox of that statement. It's possible you will get rich, retire young enough to have a ton of energy to devote to building a layout, have a huge space at your disposal, and be a savant who takes to every aspect of model railroading like a fish to water. But let's be honest, the odds of that are minuscule. Part of my problem with the dream layout concept is that word dream. I learned a long time ago not to work with dreams. I prefer to work with goals. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, the poet and author of The Little Prince, once famously said, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." Now I'm going to juggle that around and modify it a bit to say, a dream is a goal without a plan. You shouldn't confuse dreams with goals, although that happens a lot. It's easy to think that goals are the same as dreams because they're what you want to accomplish someday. It's easy to dream. It costs nothing to dream, and it takes no work to dream. However, dreams by themselves are just that, and they don't just come true. You need to set goals in order to turn your dreams into reality. Goals are based on taking action on something in a certain time frame. And this is why so many people never realize their dreams. They forget the part about taking action. I find that's the problem with New Year's resolutions, too. People spend all this time thinking about the things they want to change, but they don't spend a proportional amount of time figuring out a plan on how to get there. It ends up being a wish, a dream, and because of that, people often have given up on these resolutions before January is even mostly over. So now we get to the real point of this video. I do not want you to make a resolution to build a layout. Instead, I'm challenging you to set a New Year's goal to build one this year, or at least make good progress on one. Now, it's important to differentiate something here. Notice I said a layout. I'm not necessarily suggesting you start building your dream layout. In fact, if you've never built a layout before, I'm actually suggesting you don't start with your dream layout, but instead create a goal layout. I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever build your dream layout if you get to, but it shouldn't be your first layout, and it definitely shouldn't be this goal layout. Let's talk about the differences. Sure, thinking about your dream layout can be a really fun exercise. Dream layouts usually include everything we like: a favorite railroad or railroads, a cherished location, scenes we want to recreate, grand plans of industries, and all designed around our preferred operating style. But to be honest, it can be way too much to bite off. Also, when we dream, we have a vision of what we want, and sometimes it's a pretty specific vision. Now, there's a lot to learn when it comes to building a layout, any layout. Do you really want to be learning all these new skills while trying to complete that huge dream layout, the one that looks perfect in your mind's eye? To me, that's just a recipe for disappointment. So for the purposes of this New Year's goal, I want you to abandon the idea of the dream layout and instead focus on a set of goals to achieve with this particular project. These will be your measures of success. I suggest choosing 5 to 10 things you want to do or learn, and some of those should be things you've never tried before. Now, when you complete each of these tasks to your satisfaction, that's considered a success, and you can check it off. This goal layout should be reasonably sized, something you can finish in a reasonable time frame and within a reasonable budget. For this exercise,
smaller is usually better.
It's manageable and work proceeds quickly, so you get the satisfaction of seeing something done and working now instead of just imagining it. Now, I can already hear people saying, but I won't be able to do all the things I want on this small layout. Yep, that's probably true. But what's worse, a small layout where you have to compromise but can actually work on things and see trains moving, or nothing at all? For the record, if you answered nothing at all, you may be on the wrong channel. Also for the record, I can state with confidence after planning and participating in the construction of 2 large club-sized layouts of about 40 by 50 feet that even with a ton of space, you're probably never going to get everything you want. Look, I get it. For the most part, the model press glorifies large layouts. Look at the featured layouts in the model magazines, and more often than not, they're basement or basement equivalent sized affairs, usually with multiple decks. They've convinced people that bigger is better, and this can make it seem like it's not worth it to build a small layout because it won't check all your boxes. I'm here to tell you that it is worth it, and my work on the Grunge is a testament to that. Contrary to what seems to be popular belief, a small layout, especially if you're years away from being able to build something close to your dream layout, is an excellent opportunity. An opportunity to learn new skills and actually have something to work on, operate, and enjoy. An opportunity to sanity check what you assume your preferences to be, and an opportunity to try some different things. Maybe you want to try hand-laying track, but are scared of the huge commitment of doing that for a large layout. I know I would be. A small layout limits the amount you need to do in order to complete that and actually see if it's something you like. Perhaps you want to try a different brand or type of track or turnouts without a huge investment. Maybe your dream is for a Grainger railroad because you grew up in the Midwest, but you've always had this nagging urge to try an urban setting just once, or vice versa. The possibilities are endless. On your goal layout, you can try a different railroad, a different region of the country, a different era, whatever you want, and the investment is small. You might also find out, like I did, that you actually prefer one or more of these things to what you always believed made up your dream layout. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let me tell you a story. Early in my modeling career, I drew up a track plan for a freelance railroad called the Wachusett and Erie. It was based on Conrail in New England in the late 1990s, just before the Conrail split. It included a large paper mill, a yard, a couple of towns found along the Conrail route, and more. All this in a room that was about 22 feet by 18 feet. Although I knew I wanted some switching, it was designed mostly around running through trains. Run-through trains necessitated a continuous run, so the plan included a duck under. Tall, but not quite a nod under, despite the warnings I'd heard about them. At the end of the day, I was fairly satisfied with the plan. It may not have been exactly my dream layout, but it did include a lot of what I thought I wanted. I even started building this layout. I got the yard in and got it connected to the paper mill area. I built most of the bench work and got the duck under area in place as well. And then I learned some things. I found I enjoyed switching way more than simply running trains. I got some reality checks about how quickly trains get long on the railroad compared to what you assume the size will be on the track plan. And I also learned about the concept of the front of a train being in one town while the end was still in a different town. I discovered that duck under was just so annoying. And that paper mill? The space I had for it looked great on paper, but in practice it was very cramped and I was never really happy with it. After starting construction and discovering these things, the layout sat mostly dormant for a long time as I tried to figure out ways to incorporate my new discoveries into the plan. But in the end, it just never worked and I ended up scrapping the whole thing and starting over. Around that same time, I rediscovered a love for the chassis system, and I also ended up scrapping the Conrail-inspired freelance New England run-through-based concept in favor of a chassis system prototype-based layout set in Baltimore that focuses almost entirely on switching. That was about 20 years ago, and these lessons have informed every track plan I've done since. But I may never have discovered any of this if I hadn't actually built something and had all my preconceived notions of what I like come crashing down around me. At the very least, I wouldn't have discovered it until I started that dream layout and then found I was utterly disappointed. The point of all this? If you try to build your dream layout as your first layout, that dream may fall apart, and it may stop you from going any further, and then all that time you spent waiting for the chance to build your dream layout was wasted. On top of that, if you don't have some experience under your belt, you might just get overwhelmed by the sheer scope of the tasks that need to happen, and then things come screeching to a halt and the layout never gets built. When you're building a large layout, and I can attest to this, that list of things that need to get done can seem endless. I've seen layout constructions go idle because the tasks just seem so monumental. Or you could be in a situation similar to mine, where you find you don't actually like what you're building, but don't know what to do about it. And then things come screeching to a halt and the layout never gets built. Perhaps you're seeing a pattern here. While a small layout may require some compromises, especially if you're a big fan of a rail fanning type of layout with a continuous run in long trains, there can still be a lot of upside to starting small, not the least of which is it's more likely that you're actually going to get that layout built. So, now your goal is to build a layout. A layout that gets to some measurable level of completion requires a realistic plan. And I'm not talking here about how realistic the layout looks or what the track plan looks like. I'm talking about what's realistic within the parameters of your life in order to get a layout going. Also consider those goals we talked about. What new things can you try? What skills can you build on and improve? Are there elements of your dream layout that could be integrated into the goal layout? Even with the small layout, there's a lot to think about. So for this exercise, it makes sense to consider a few things. What actually are your goals for this layout? How much time do you have to devote to working on the layout? And this may include having to specifically carve out time to work on it if you have a hectic schedule. How much money can you realistically set aside to build the layout? This may require some budgeting. How much space can you reasonably devote to the layout? This could be as small as a bookshelf or as large as a spare room, but I suggest making sure it doesn't get too overwhelming so that completion is achievable. What is your current skill level and what are the things you want to learn or get better at? Next, consider what you want this layout to depict. What railroad or railroads? What era? What region, that is, urban, rural, or something in between? What's the terrain like? Mountainous, flat, something in between? What kind of traffic do you like? Freight, passenger, traction, some mix of those things? What scale does it make sense to work in, especially given the goals you've set for this layout? Take into account both your space and what you're looking to learn and or achieve. For example, if scenic vistas are a goal, consider N-scale. If super detailing is a goal, HO scale or larger scales might be a better choice. What gauge, that is standard, narrow, or wide, would you like to model? Might you like a Colorado logging line or a Maine 2-foot gauge line? Or is standard gauge more your speed? You really have lots of options here. At the start, don't rule anything out if it comes to mind. Write it all down. Then consider your options. Think about what makes sense for your goal layout and narrow that list down from there. Remember, goals are all about action. A dream written down with a date becomes a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan. A plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. I know that's a lot to think about and it can be overwhelming, but I think a quote from Mark Twain is appropriate here. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks and starting on the first one. Start with the brainstorming. Then think about how you can fit your goals into your space. Then think about a layout shape and then the track plan. Breaking everything up into bite-sized chunks should help you from getting overwhelmed. Now, some final advice that I stole from a former boss of mine, and I think this is especially appropriate in the goal layout setting. He always said, "Don't let perfect get in the way of good." You don't want to spend so much time on this planning process to make it perfect that it takes so long and you never actually get started on the build. Get to something you like and then get going. Now, I know I've used this word a lot in this video, but as we've discussed, all this can be overwhelming, especially if you haven't done it before. But I want you to know I'm here to help. I offer a full range of services that can help you get over the hump, ranging from simple consultation and layout coaching on what things to consider when you're first getting started, to full-blown layout and track planning services. If you're stuck and feel like you need some help, you can contact me via email at jparker@thepixeldepot.com. Also, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the sheer range of tasks you need to do, my next video may help. It'll be discussing modeling groups, which can go a long way towards reducing your stress by spreading the burden with multiple hands, or heads. I've also said some possibly incendiary things in this video, so whether you agree or disagree, let's hear all about it in the comments. That's also the place for questions and suggestions. You can also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Details are in the description below. The Facebook page is an especially good place to get in touch and show me the progress you're making on your layout as you go. I love to hear from people about their layouts, and I would especially like to hear about these goal layouts that I'm hoping you're going to build. For more tips, I have a whole series on building a small project layout that may help you out if you're just getting started, and you can access that by clicking on the link at the top left of your screen. Once I've posted the video on modeling groups, there will be a link to that video on the bottom. Until then, enjoy a video that YouTube thinks you want to see by clicking there. I'm Joe Parker of the Pixel Depot. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll meet me next time in the train room.